And so we are in the classroom today in lab, and Chris and Matt are both here with us. Chris sent out Q&A for the test.
Hmm.
Okay, so Michelle and Scott want me to say.
All right.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Mm-mm.
You're not hearing me?
It's very
Barely.
faint. There's a lot of
Yeah.
feedback.
There's a few people who need to mute. I'm still waiting on a few people to mute. See if that helps a little bit with the feedback.
Now I can hear you well. Very well.
Because I turned off my camera and I'm talking directly into the mic.
Oh.
That's better, Pauline.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see. Selected the question. I'm just answering the test. Test done. Question answered. Excellent. Okay. I don't think anybody is viewing. I think everybody is here or we're in the classroom, which is great. So welcome. I hope that 4.2 and 4.3 went well for you. Let's see. Yesterday, I think we started by going around and seeing where each of us were at and how things had went, and then maybe we can address some of the questions that are there. I want to try, hopefully today, to try to keep this about the more so like the process they went through, rather than going on and talking about additional challenges that were faced. Okay. So let's see. Tony, do you want to go first?
Sure. I didn't have any issues. Screen share if you'd like to look at the blocks. Um, I didn't realize that my device didn't vibrate, so I was kind of hunting around as to why my device wasn't vibrating when I touched it. And I looked up the features online, and I obviously discovered it, and then I verified it. That's after the test. I'll share my screen if you'd like. Okay. Just so that I can go pretty much both projects at once. Just show the 4.3, which obviously is 4.2 difference. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. This area that I'm kind of circling here, of course, wasn't included in the 4.2. Obviously, in the creative, when the Android sprite's been touched, of course, the score label is getting up incrementally by 1, as well as I sped it up in terms of time. So I actually added a negative value of 250 milliseconds to a quarter of a second. This score level or label is 5. Gradually, shut the timer off. I ran into a problem. I stopped there and I forgot to initially add the clock reset over on the reset button. To start a new game, it originally kept the old time, which was super fast. Obviously, it was impossible to play the game. I added an if-then statement as well, where if clock 1 doesn't equal full second, set the time interval back to 2000.
is it the same on his side too? It's spotty? Yeah.
Tony, which question was that again? So, for some of us over here, it was a little bit spotty hearing you, so we were kind of following. We weren't sure which project you were working on.
That was 4.3, 4.03, the Android Mash, second half of the assignment. So I was explaining the fact that I was just going to show the 4.3, which contained 4.2.
We're muted. Who's that?
No, you're not muted. I hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Tony, what problem are you talking about? Is it number 2? Yep. You're doing a creative project?
I did June. I did the 4.2 MASH tutorial.
Right, but which problem on that list of problems are you talking about?
Let's see. On the questions, the reflection questions, or are you talking about just the actual site itself?
I thought you were asking about one of the programming and creative projects.
Let me go back to screen share and I can talk. Okay. This is the 4.3, where they added additional challenges such as a reset button and then a score.
Right, are you talking about one of those specific challenges?
I kind of just summarized my entire experience of dealing with the issue that I had. But if you want me to speak specifically to something mentioned on the site itself, I'll pull that up.
Okay.
Let's go to student. So in terms of personalizing the game, I didn't actually add a new mold yet because I was more concerned about the actual functionality of the program. I changed the speed right here by doing the following. Right here, I set the clock timer interval to add, which I could have also subtracted, but I added a negative value. And then, of course, you hit it 4 times, you're back down to 0 times. Right kind of bounces all over the place at a rather high rate. It makes it rather impossible to play. I kind of did that on purpose. And then, of course, right here, I had the issue of once I sped it up, I needed to slow it back down. So, of course, I then did an if-then statement where if it didn't equal 1,000, make it equal a full second when that button is pressed. That's how I dealt with it.
Okay, so that worked okay?
Yep. I had no idea. Yes, it does. Yeah, it did. I had no issues.
Oh, good.
Yes, to respond to Alan's question, the only problem that he had was that I can click it more than once at a time to rack the score. So that's something I can work out.
When it's going so slow, you mean?
Right. That's something. Is that Alan speaking? Because I didn't hear that.
So why don't we go to...
Yeah. But in summary, I've had no issues.
How about you? Scott, can you hear us? Scott.
Well, me?
Yeah.
All right, I just heard it just then because it's, as Matt was just saying, it's pretty fuzzy on my side as well.
So we're just sort of summing up how the two projects went together. Is that right?
Yeah. Like Tony, I pretty much did the same thing. I went a little bit more involved with the time intervals. I had it once you reach a score of 5 to speed up a little bit more, then a score of 10 speed up, 15 speed up, and then end when they got to 20. So my string of code was a little bit longer with the if-then statements, but essentially it was the same issue. Not an issue, but same procedure I went through as Tony did, and everything worked out. And then at the end, I found I actually had my daughter try it out, and once she got to 20, I had the sprite stop moving. It said make it go to false, and it said she had a notifier pop up saying congratulations, you won as well as speak it. And then she starts hitting the sprite again, and the score just continues to go up and up and up. So it didn't actually turn off the game itself. So I'm going to go back and make it so that the sprite gets shut off once you reach 20 as well. And I'm trying to share the screen. How do I do that? Sorry.
On the left, the green icon on the left of the, you gotta scroll all the way through.
There you go. Screen share. Yeah.
I always have to share full screen for some reason.
Yeah, the entire screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Everyone see my screen? See my blocks?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So yeah, over here I have it. Once the score reaches 5 to go slow down because I started off the speed at 1500, then went down to 1000, then to 500, then to 350 because my daughter was having trouble down at 250. So I moved it up to 350, and then once it reaches 20, I had it speak that you won as well as pop up a notifier. And then just as you were speaking right now, I started to put in the image sprite. I'm going to make that turn false as well so that the sprite can't be clipped anymore because my daughter just kept racking up the score as it went. And since the vibrate wasn't working on the tablet, I also downloaded a sound and put that in there so that she got some feedback. When, rather than the score going up, she knew that she actually hit it by the sound that was created as well.
That looks very nice to me.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer, but it works.
Uh-huh. You were saying you were you're going to go back now and have it, you hit the 20 game in.
Well, I just put it in right here on the bottom there. The image sprite, I set it to false. And then once I hit the reset button, I'll now put that to true. So that when you hit the reset button, it'll turn the sprite back on.
And set the interval back to the initial value.
Yep.
It's great. Nice job. Yeah.
Great job.
See how it works. Reset button.
Can you go back to that screen, please?
Go back to it? Sure. Hold on. There you go. You see it?
Down here, get to 20. Congratulations. Reset button. Very nice, Scott.
Thank you. Anyone
And
else
also,
need?
Tony, very nice. As you can see, there's different ways to do things. Who's next? Michelle. Going right to left. Michelle, you're muted. I can't see you either. You there, Michelle? Matt L.
Yes. Everything went well for me today. I spent a lot of time trying to get. I added another sprite. I added a ball. I tried to get that to bounce across the screen, so when the other sprite hit it, it would subtract a point. The only struggle I had was that the ball would only go from one side of the screen to the other rather than like kind of keep moving around the screen. So I didn't quite figure out how to get that solved. But I used a lot of variables to set the score. And then when you reached a score of about 15 points or so, everything would shut down and say you won. And then I would, when you click the reset button, everything would reset back to 0, and the game would start all over again. So.
Nice. So the ball would only go back and forth?
It would only go from one side of the screen to the other. Like, it would go from left to right and then stop. It wouldn't keep moving. So, and I used the ball sprite, so I couldn't quite figure out why it would just stop and not keep moving, but I think it's something within the constraints of the ball sprite.
Off the edges?
Yeah, so it'll start on the left-hand side. And, no, it would stop when it reached the other side of the screen.
So you need to actually program those events to have it bounce off the edges.
Oh, okay.
And you can have it bounce, and I think you can set the angle at which it bounces. Set it to some random number.
Yep.
Then it'll bounce off in a different direction, so it'll be more random.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That makes sense. I see it now. Yep. But yeah, other than that, everything went well today.
So if we share our screen, we can maybe show that. Can you bring up App Engine?
Yeah, I have App Inventor open.
Okay, if you go to App and if you share your screen,
yeah,
we can maybe show you. You go to open the ball.
Yep.
It works for Sprite too.
Yeah, when ball when edge reached. Yeah. And then
Chris has got a lot of experience with them. So yeah, when edge reached.
So the event is edge reached. Now click on the ball's drawer again, if you could.
Yeah.
And go down to the procedures and bounce.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice that the property that you put in is edge, and you can take that from the parameter of the function, the orange, go back to the edge reach function.
Okay.
Go right there. Can you see where I'm pointing? On the edge reach event that you have, you'll see that there's a parameter called edge.
Yep.
And attach it to bounce.
Okay. So in the ball. Yeah. Oh, I see the edge. Yep.
Yep. Mouse over it. Give it a second. You gotta mouse off the mouse back on real quick.
Yeah.
Get that. Now, that will give you a natural bouncing scenario.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, good. Michelle, are you back?
Yes.
How does your day go?
I'm still working on the MASH mini projects, and I discovered, like everyone else, that the device didn't vibrate, so I'm still working.
All right.
And I switched from my phone because I couldn't hear anything on the phone, so I switched back to the computer.
Oh, you're very clear.
Yeah.
The clear is so soft.
Yeah, I switched to the computer.
Okay. So after you figured out it didn't vibrate,
yeah,
it worked out okay?
Yeah, then I went and I just had it play. I just switched it out so it would play.
You could add a sound, a little beep sound, and that's got to be one of first time you put the...
I just said, call sound one, play.
Oh, okay, you did that. Right.
Yeah.
Very good. So did you have any issues that you want to bring up?
No, not right now. I really like, I read all the instructions. I'm an instructions person. And then I go back and I make notes, and I'm just kind of doing that so I can have them for when I work with my students. So it probably takes me longer than other people.
Well, that's okay.
But I'm just kind of methodical like that. I like the procedures. I'm like, yay, we finally got there. I was very happy about that.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. I think Larry's next.
Okay. I got through the exercises. I did not get to the challenges. I was hoping to do that, but ended up working all day at school. So I'm going to continue playing with it. But going through the basics and the exercise, I did not have any problems. The tutorials and what was included in the videos was very helpful.
Well, some of the challenges are fairly straightforward. Have you been able to gather from the discussion so far how to do the challenging ones? Number 5, for example, changing the bowl.
Yeah, I think so. I wrote down some notes. Like I said, I haven't really even tried them yet, but from what was said, I have a good idea of what what folks were talking about, what to do. So if I get stuck with that, I will let you know.
Very good. So basically, the basic strategy is inside your when right touch. You have an if statement that says if the score is greater than or equal to 5, then you will change the interval by all the numbers. That's like 200.
Right. I noticed that in the screens.
Maybe just do it when it's equal to 5. Set it aside. That's so any issues you want to bring up?
No, not right now. Those are okay.
Okay, Chandler.
I'm sorry, were you speaking to me?
Chandler. Oh, Greg Chandler. How come everyone else's first name is his last name? His first name is Chandler.
My first name's Greg.
Oh, okay. Greg.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I had fun with the project. I made it into a bushwhacker game.
Bushwhacker.
Yeah, I changed the sprite to...
You mean like a George Bushwhacker, or...?
What? I changed the sprite to Jeb Bush.
Okay, real Jeb Bushwhacker.
So every time you hit him, he says out.
Uh-huh.
When you get to 10, it changes the speed so it's faster, but it also sets off fireworks, so they change the sprite to fireworks, and they still bounce around the screen and have explosion sounds.
Uh-huh.
And then it goes back to, it re-enables the sprite and turns it back into Jeb, and you go into 20. When you get to 20, you win, and it tells you that you won, and it's a victory for liberty or something like that, and it plays parts of Glory, Glory, Hallelujah.
Sounds great. It sounds like you had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. My daughter helped me test it. She's a lot faster on it than I am, so she said 10 is not high enough, Dad. You have to go to like 25 and 50.
10 would be my speed.
Yeah, 10 was my speed.
How
So
old
for
is
me
your
to
daughter?
test it would be pretty easy.
How old is your daughter?
She's 14.
So has she, seeing you do this, expressed any interest in trying it herself?
No, I told her she should try it, but she said, yeah. But she was willing to play it.
Oh, okay.
She was
Beta.
willing to test it for me.
That's how many good software developers begin, as beta testers.
Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of the work on that and the other exercises over the weekend.
Uh-huh.
So I've been playing with learning different things that we can use for the bigger project.
Great.
Figured out how to make things appear and disappear on the screen, stuff like that.
Very nice. So I take it you have no issues to bring up?
No, the only thing I had any issue with was the map tour. I just didn't get it. I mean, I got it to work, but I read the stuff about it and the APIs and all of that, and like, okay, I get it sort of, but I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
If I didn't have explicit directions, do this, do that, set this equal to this, I'd have no clue how to do that.
You know, I was talking to Dave Wolber about that a couple of weeks ago. And what's happened since he wrote the book where that was first introduced, Google has changed the way those things work. There used to be a page you could find that gave you all of the details of the API. So you could easily set the zoom level, other aspects of it, but apparently that page has gone missing.
Yeah,
His theory is that Google doesn't want to make that too easy for you.
Yeah, I found a YouTube video on it, but it didn't look like what is on Google now.
Right. So Google's constantly
used to be able to do.
And starting to make me think we shouldn't depend so much on Google.
But I've been playing around with maps, but doing it a different way, treating them as an image on a canvas, and then adding sprites for locations and things like that. So that's kind of fun.
Remember now, you don't have to do everything in your first project.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But also, just to reiterate that Map Tour was meant to get you an introduction to the activity starter and a list picker, right? There's going to be another project at towards the end that's called My Directions, and that's when you start really playing around with the APIs. So this Map Tour was just to kind of introduce you to using Google Maps and to focus on activity starter and list picker, right? So moving on, like if you're not really, didn't really pick up on what's being talked about now, there's another lesson that focuses on that at the end of the course.
Yeah, I figured there must be, because that was like, okay, now you've seen it. You don't know how to do anything with it, but you've seen it, and that's there's always value to that too. So, list picker I'm really comfortable with. I've been playing with a lot of those.
Great. Okay. Chandon, how'd you make out?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The whole thing went well. There were a couple of issues I wanted to bring up. First, I found out that if you set the movement to be faster than 300 milliseconds, I couldn't keep up with the game anymore. One of the things I did was I actually made it faster each time you hit the button correctly. So after about 4 or 5 presses, it started going really fast. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I was getting a little confused. I didn't think that MIT App Inventor was a strongly typed language, and so I tried building the name of a sprite using strings. So I'm just going to type in the chat bar now. So I had something like this. I had like sprite plus 1 plus 2. Hold on one second. I haven't hit the return key yet. So I was trying to do something like this and have it turn out to be this. And interestingly, I didn't get a compiler error, but then when I ran it, I got an error that flashed up on my screen. It said, it was expecting a sprite component, but instead got a string. So I guess you can't build the names of these sprites up in pieces. Is that right?
Oh yeah, Oh, I see what you mean. So where were you doing this? Can you show us in the block? Can you share your?
I think it's. I don't know if I still have it around. I was playing around with one of the projects and trying to go a little bit farther. I think it was actually for my creative project 1.
So you're changing the sprites identifier.
I was trying to
12. That should work.
But I was trying to build it up using the join block and using strings. And the weird thing is, accepted it, so I didn't get a compiler error. But then when it looked for the actual component, I got an error saying that it got a string instead of a sprite handle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what was really.
So Chandan, I'm not completely sure if it's giving you. It would be good to see where exactly you're trying to do that.
Okay. I promise to bring it up today.
Yeah. Maybe we can go on to Alan and come back when you bring that up, and we can take a look at it.
The only reason I say that is I'm not sure I still have it around because it didn't work and I deleted it, but I'll try and find it.
Oh, okay. But I mean, it does sound like if it's reporting that kind of error, it's saying basically it's expecting a sprite and you gave it a string.
Yes.
You're putting the string into a slot where you could only put a sprite object.
I kind of assumed it would be smart enough to convert the string name into the sprite that corresponds to it, but clearly not. They're different types of objects.
Did you include the extension of the file name?
Oh, I didn't try that.
Try that. Yeah, it can't. It needs the extension regardless.
So you think I should put a .gif in there, like Matt is suggesting?
Yeah, .gif, .jpeg, whatever file it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm having a hard time picturing where you were trying to do that, because some places that might work and some places it might not.
Okay. I promise to bring it in on Monday and show it to you.
Well, no, don't redo it if you haven't got it anymore. But we can look at it if it comes up again. Save it.
Okay.
Save those kinds of things because they're interesting to talk about.
The only other item before I give up the floor is I did some list processing, and I was iterating through the list, and it wasn't obvious to me at once that you have to use this any component drawer in the components to do the list processing, but I figured that out eventually.
Shouldn't have to use that, but
so I had a whole bunch of sprites that I put into a list.
Yep.
And I wanted to change pictures.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be the only way I could do it was to go through the any components drawer.
You hit a whole level of abstraction that we don't even include in the course.
Okay.
Just so you know.
If you go into the, I think it's control, you can find a for loop. You can loop through a list of objects by the number of list times. You might find an answer in there for you.
No, that's what we ended up using, but it's hard to refer to a sprite generically because most of the.
He's going through a list and he's got a bunch of sprites. Rather than having to say, you get a sprite out of the list and you say, if it's sprite 1, my name, then do this. Else if it's sprite 2, then do that. So on for every one. Instead of doing that, there's a generic block that allows you to refer to any sprite. So you can take any sprite and it'll be the one you just pulled out of the list, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but you can definitely do that. But as I say, we don't introduce that in our course at Trinity.
That's all I had.
Okay. Okay, Alan, your turn.
So I'm still finishing up my enhancements because what I'm doing is I added levels, easy, medium, hard.
Mm-hmm.
So that if it's easy, I mean, they all have to reach the same score either way, but the number of strikes. So if like the number of misses, like if it's easy, you'll have 5 strikes. If it's medium, you'll have 4 strikes, and if it's hard, you'll have 3 strikes. Also, depending on the level, the decrement of the time interval is more for the hard, so that it goes faster as a sprite is clicked. So I'm just like finishing it up right now. But like I said earlier, the thing is, make sure that once the sprite is touched, you have to you have to disable it, and then right after when the timer fires, you have to enable it again so that you don't allow the player to click on the sprite more than once.
Yeah, so they don't run up the score.
Yeah, they will just end up
That was
rocking.
never a problem. That was never a problem for me because I can't hit it enough times.
No, but I'm just saying though, if it's like 1 second, when I first ran it, I was able to click on it more than once.
Yeah.
And then so I figured that once I touch the sprite, I have to disable it and then enable it again once the timer fires.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. So right now I'm really just finishing it up so that the levels work. Because I used a what's that?
You change the sprites in the level. The
I
level.
didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. But I have a spinner component. So with the spinner component, it really shows what the level is anyway.
What's the difference between one level and another level?
With easy, you get like 5 strikes, and the way I'm thinking of it, the way I'm thinking of right now is the decrement will be 10 seconds. So every time you touch the sprite, it will reduce the time interval by 10 seconds. I would for hard, I'm thinking of setting it to like 20, so that it will be faster. It will go much faster than easy.
Sounds nice.
So yeah, another thing I remember, I did not make it when the screen initializes, I didn't make it move right away because I want the user to be ready, so that once the screen initializes, I put a button that says start game. So right after, not until the button is pressed would the mole move.
Yeah. Well, very good. Sounds like you all basically got it and then some. So.
Yeah, I'm making it a full blown game here.
There's one person you have to ask.
Who's that?
This one.
Oh, Hugh?
Yeah.
Very good. So, let's see. Are there any questions about the projects which start tomorrow, right? Creative projects. You all figured out how you're going to meet up and chat and so forth? Any questions about that? My advice would be curb your enthusiasms. Scale back to something that you can do in 2 days comfortably. And this is just your first project, and you'll have 2 more opportunities this summer to really, amp up your creativity on your project. So, yeah, I mean, if you're getting more complex than Paint Pot, you're doing more than it is expected. Of course, you can do that, but just you don't want to run into the 4th of July weekend, right? That's my thinking. Anything else?
My only problem with the game is that the 8 other people that just went by don't have it. I don't understand it really to the level that they do. I'm following the program, YouTube. I'm viewing, and I'm well at mimicking what's there, coming up with what isn't there. That's hard for me. I've spent time in here today, Pauline, and that helped very much. but it isn't interesting to me. The language isn't good to me right now. So even the things that you guys just showed, looking at your screens, I'm looking at the same thing. I don't understand. I understand this piece of it, that small part, but all of it together and putting it together is still a big strain for me.
So now your partner is Chandon?
Yeah. And
So Chandon, you have to keep that in mind when you're working together, that you might be further along because of your programming experience than your partner. You have to keep them engaged.
well, that's not, he and I talked about it, and the concept is, I understand completely, see how a good work looks like doing that. Shows some phenomenal, and I'm going to do it again. Oh, yes.
I'm going to try really hard to stay in better touch for the next day or two.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll learn from this, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're finding out that many of these guys are putting more features in than they need to for this project.
Yeah.
The thing about programming that you can look at other code and you're just not going to be able to see it. You can't read it like words. It takes a while to kind of do it. Like a sunburn.
And some parts are enhanced, but we're going faster and faster on top of it.
I think what would be good for your particular project might be if Chandon can carve out some part of it that you have to work on yourself, that he can help you with it.
Well, yeah, it has to be done and looked at.
I think you're right. I think I'm going to do that after we get off this call.
Very good.
Hi, this is Michelle. I have a question about the connectivity piece. When you're talking about how Google is specifying that you write to their API.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our project, I was going to try to use some of that here in the connectivity, and I was reading through it where it talks about the web. It says just non-visible component that provides functions for HTTP, GET, POST, PUT, delete, things like that. So are there ways like we can, I was using HTML5 this year with my class.
Well, we lost you there.
Oh, I was using HTML5 this year with my class. And so are there ways for our, that we can go out and just use things that are already out there on the web for our project? That's what I was going to try to do, is maybe use...
There certainly are ways to do all that, but I would discourage you from doing that for your first project.
Okay.
I mean, as I said, you're going to have two other projects, one which will require you to do something social,
right,
interacting with others or with the web, and I would save it for that. And this one, paint pop. How hard was that?
Yeah. So don't try. Yeah, because I was thinking about trying to do something like that, but just stick with what we have.
Who's your partner?
It's Philip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're both capable of that, but I would discourage you from doing it for your first project.
Okay.
Keep your first project simple.
Yes. Yes.
And get it done so you can have Friday to eat hamburgers and run in road races and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of demand for my cooking, unfortunately. So.
There you go. So do not get into post and get on the first app you do. I'll leave that for later.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, I bet Matt won't disagree.
Too late. I got a great one.
Or Phil. Phil will probably agree. So, okay. Does everybody agree with that advice? Try to keep it, keep it simple for your first app, and then, get it done in a timely way, and then the second and third app you can go to town. All right, last chance to ask any questions. I don't know.
No, I'm good.
Pauline just asked if everybody's okay with the write-up that you have to do for your project. So you can give a presentation next Monday.
I'll say, I mean, I don't know if I'm in agreement with all the other students. I feel like this Create project is such a new thing. It would have been better to have this as something we did in class together the first time, and the next one that we have, we can do away. But we're all trying to create something new right now, and that's a little difficult when we're working remote.
Yeah,
just a thought.
That's a good point. Yeah, so for the write-up, use the examples that Pauline gave and just follow that. You don't have to do as much as you would expect your students to do. Your teachers, we know you know how to do this. The main reason for giving you that is to give you a sense of what we're expecting of the students. Okay? So take that approach to the write-up. Okay? We'll be around tomorrow and the next day too, so if you have questions, you can try to address them during the day, but certainly at 3 o'clock for the hangout. Okay, folks?
Okay, thank you very much.
Have fun.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.